Okay, we were waiting for a few more people, but I think we're good to go. We shall begin. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Welcome to the Blue Light Connections Frisky Fridays, where we shall be talking all things pleasure this Friday and every Friday. So, right now, I would like to request for a moment you put all your worries to the side. You put all your stresses and your problems, just put them away for a moment as we embark on this journey of self-love. Okay? I want you to know that this is a safe space where we shall share, we shall engage, and we shall talk about all things pleasure, all things orgasm, right? Orgasms. And this is a place that we're not going to be having any form of shame, any form of stigma, or any form of judgment. When we are here, it is a time for us to engage, to share, to have this conversation going. Okay, we are the grown-ups, and it is our time to take charge. Okay, we're going to go through a few facts, right? Did you know that as a woman, we have 8,000 nerve endings on the tip of our clitoris, just the tip, compared to 4,000 that men have on the whole penis area. So that's already double, I tell you. And with all of those, those nerve endings, surely there must be pleasure bound, right? Okay, moving on. Did you know that as women, we have more paths to an orgasm than men do? We have clitoral orgasms, we have vaginal penetration, just to mention a few, right? And, well, did you know, with all of this, us women, we are on the lower end of the orgasmic spectrum. 95% of heterosexual men, they come every time they have sex. Whereas women, it's 65%. And it even goes down lower to 40% when it's a first time hookup, right? Now I decided that didn't sit well with me. It's just not working, So I decided, let me do some research. And while I'm conducting my research, I'm looking into it all. I realize most of the forums are run by men. They are giving advice and information on women, on our privates. And don't get me wrong, I assume most of them mean well. And if they're going out, going to the trouble to look for it, well, fine, that's all gravy. But isn't this a conversation us ladies should be having and leading? I think that it should be. I think that we are the grown-ups. We are the ones who should be leading the way because we are the ones who have a clitoris. We are the ones who have ovaries. We are the ones who actually feel all these different things that we feel within ourselves. So we should have these conversations. We should be the ones who are taking charge and leading the way. And not only that, I've got a daughter, but I don't want her to have her first point of contact in regards to sexual health and sexual well-being being from a man. I don't want that. I don't want her first point of contact from movies, from the internet, from songs. It should be from us. It should be from me, right? But how do you have this conversation with the young ones if we're not having these conversations ourselves? So I open up this floor to everybody. I want you to engage. I want you to be involved. I want us to have this conversation where we're sharing and we're taking all of these things that we own and we walk and we stride and we actually open ourselves to possibilities because that's what life is about. There are possibilities and beauty abound. Now, I tell you, in life, we all have responsibilities. We all have things that we have to do, be it our work responsibilities, our familial responsibilities. All of those things are there. And I mean, while they're there, they take so much of our time. They take so much from us, etc. But there is something to be said for the pleasure. On the other side, there's so much to be said for that. And I think that it's about time that we all went for it and we all just embraced ourselves, connect with ourselves, Okay, I'm going to go and tell you a little story about myself, my own history, my own experience. I grew up in a very Catholic home, and we didn't speak much about sexual anything. you know? And if people were talking and you were younger, it was like, hey, adults are talking, get the step in. So we didn't learn very much apart maybe from our friends and Mills and Boons, Danielle Steele books, right? But in all fairness, if you're learning from your friends, you're the same age, it's like the blind leading the blind. And I mean, come on, what results are you really going to get? And then when you're watching all of these fantasy movies, the other thing is that what? They end up giving you some sort of... They give you like a real fantasy of what it should be. They romanticize it so much that when you are now in the real situation, it can be either lackluster, unfulfilling, or it can just be downright nothing you expected. No fault of the man, obviously, and no fault of the books either, because those are just fiction, they're fantasy. But those are the things that guided us. Those are the things that actually formed and shaped our opinions, our perspectives of sexual encounters. And, well, I can say that I wasn't satisfied. So, not one day, actually, I've just lost my train of thought right there. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, I was saying that all of these sources of information, they shape our perspectives and our views on sex, on sexual encounters, on sexual experiences, you know? And to be fair, they can be misleading. Anyway, moving on. I kissed a few frogs before I met my prince, and I'm so thankful I finally met him. And now that I've met him, I felt I'm in a safe space to explore, a safe space to experience, right? And while I'm there, I'm thinking, damn, I got this shit on lockdown, and I'm having a good time with my husband. And all of these things were amazing and have been amazing. But it felt like there was more, you know, so much more. But I didn't think about it in that way. I thought, I'm good. I got it. I mean, I'm good. I don't need more. And then one day, my husband decided, babe, would you like to try a pussy shiatsu? Bearing in mind, I never really heard of it. And I'm thinking, I have no idea what this is. But then I decided, why not? I tried it, and it was amazing. And then not long after that, he asked me to try something else. And I did. I tried it, and it was, he did like a massage, and then he was trying to get me to squat. And while this was happening, I tell you, I just kept fighting myself, you know, because a great big part of me wanted to say, please stop, I do not like this. I couldn't understand it, I couldn't explain it. But I just felt like, look, I don't like this. I don't want this to be happening. And, you know, not that it was not consensual, it was, but it was just the feelings. And, you know, you touch a place and it's like, what is that? So I decided, no, I'm going to keep saying yes. And I said yes to myself. And my mind chatter had me in really a really crazy space. My mind chatter was trying to get me away from the pleasure. Yet at the same time, I was fighting this. And I'm like, why? I gotta, you know, like I want to see, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. And from that, I climaxed. I climaxed so many times. I had nuances. I had, you know, lots of orgasms. But like I said, it wasn't just about the orgasms. It was about the build up to it. So when I had the mother of all orgasms, it was amazing. It was phenomenal. But you know what else happened? I cried. I laughed. I went through so many emotions. It was overwhelming. But in it all, as I was going through all these emotions, as I was going through all of this, something happened. Something extremely profound happened. You know, I saw myself. You know, I really and truly saw myself. But I also saw all the limitations I put there, all the judgments I had placed upon myself, all of the judgments that I picked up from everybody, you know, the things that made me look at myself in a way that I wasn't confident, made me look at myself in a way that I didn't like what I saw sometimes, you know. I'd look at myself and I just didn't feel worthy of what I was getting, the love I was receiving, you know, it was just crazy to see all of that I was carrying, all of that baggage, all of that bullshit, essentially, absolute, utter fucking bullshit. I was carrying it with me as if it was my identity, you know? And then I saw how it was limiting every other area of my life, because remember, we do not live in isolation. We don't live in isolation. So every part of your body, every part of your life, every part of the things that you do, they all merge. Nothing is separate. So you can't forsake one part of your being just to take care of the other. It doesn't work like that. Everything has to be more or less balanced, right? So looking at this here and looking at the destructive mindset that I had had about myself, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And then I came, I cried, and I let it go. I absolutely let it go. I looked at myself in that moment and I thought, do you know what? In that moment, I felt like God was speaking to me. God was talking to me, you know? I let go of all that stuff that I've been carrying. And now I saw me. I saw Marisa for the very first time, and I don't even know how long. I saw myself in all the various roles that I play as a sister, as a mother, as a daughter. And all of those things came together in a profound way. You know, all the fear I had been harboring, all the shame I had been harboring about my sensual self, all of that, they disappeared. And now I saw Marisa, and the essence of myself was there. It was present. And I had a confidence, a newfound lease on life that couldn't be shaken. It really just could not be shaken. And from that moment, just like my waters released, I felt like everything else released. Everything else was gone. And I felt new. I felt reborn. Reborn out of all that destruction that I was creating for myself. And I didn't even know it. You know, I let so much stick onto me. But now I saw myself. I let go of that. And then I decided I am going to show up for myself. I am going to be the best version I can possibly be. And nobody can tell me any different. Nobody can. And until this day, as I'm walking around, I am confident. I look in the face of fear, you know, and I say, okay, and then what? You know, don't get me wrong, challenges are abound. Life is full of them. But instead of letting those challenges define me, I actually am in charge of them. I can say, pick and choose how I react to those challenges. And all I want to do now is open this up to everybody. I want every single woman to feel the way I feel, to feel the beauty within myself, to feel that when I look in the mirror and I see Marisa, I think, do you know what, girl? I want to fuck you. I may not do it, but the point is I love each and every part of myself. I look at myself and I'm like, do you know what? Everything about you is amazing. Is amazing. And as I do that, I'm open to life's possibilities. And I want each and every woman to feel that way. I don't want any single person to feel any kind of shame about your sensuality. Why would God give us all of these pleasure centers if they weren't there to be pleasured? I mean, think about it. Your clitoris is the only organ or part of your body made solely for pleasure. And if we don't exercise that, come on, we're doing a complete disservice to ourselves. Complete disservice to ourselves. So, as we go on this journey together, I would like you to feel free. Feel free to engage, to ask questions, to send me messages, all of that. I want to engage. I want this conversation to be a conversation we have with our kids. I want this to be a conversation that we can, you know, use to empower ourselves, to lead this conversation, to lead this whole situation. We don't need to know what is going on within ourselves from men. And if you think about it, we are powerful sources of creation. We don't only bear children. No, we don't. We do so much more along the lines. And we're able to adapt. We're able to change. As situations give. So right now is a situation that is giving us the moment and the power right here and right now. Right here and right now, we get to decide. We get to decide. We get to decide whether we want to be held back or not. I choose not. So join me. Let's go on this road together. Let us explore ourselves. Let us experience ourselves. And then we expand. We expand our minds, our bodies, and our spiritual beings. And as we do that, we open ourselves to the beauty of life. And there is beauty in every moment. And we'll just be open to seeing it and receiving it. So that is my intro for today. And then next week, we're going to be talking on what I think is the very first port of call, which is self-pleasure. Because how are you going to know, how can a man know what you like if you don't know what you like yourself? Right? So we've got to explore that. And I'm ready for anybody who wants to take part, anybody who wants to be on here. We'll be doing videos, we'll be doing articles, we'll be doing audios. And I mean, hey, it's a communication thing. So let me know, is there anything you'd like to talk about? I'm all ears. And while we're connecting with ourselves, we connect with life. And let's get orgasmic. So I want to thank you all for joining me. Have yourselves a wonderful evening. And until next week, where we speak all about self-pleasure and how that they will take us even closer to that journey of self-love. How it will take us even closer to being all that we can be. I love you all. I thank you for joining me. Love and light to you all. God bless you all. And good night.